pain of yesterday. I know my king.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Journey into the Light. We are glad you are here for this show and a lot of shows here on Thursday evening. So stay with us here, and we're going to turn the mic on over to our guest, Chris Fabish from Truly Holistic. Is going to be on now for this half-hour segment. So let's welcome Chris back to Journey into the Light. Welcome back, Chris.
Hi, Michael. Great to be back.
Great to have you here. Well, Chris, if you would tell all the new listeners about yourself, and then if you wanted to segue right into your topic for this week, it'd be great.
Awesome. I'm Chris from Truly Holistic. My website is trulyholistic.net. And what I am is a quantum energy healer. So I use a pendulum to dowse using source as a channel, and that guides me into what health problem you may have. So you may come to me with a health problem, for example, diabetes, and I'll look and do a bit of investigating with my pendulum and pendulum charts to find out what's causing your diabetes. 10 different people could have diabetes, but they could all have different reasons for why they have diabetes. And then using quantum energy tools, crystal energy tools, which are pyramid tools made by sacred geometry, I use these to then remove the stressor and remove its frequency and vibration, which makes it exist on an energetic level. And then all of a sudden, within seconds or minutes, the people will notice a difference, and all of a sudden, within that hour session, you'll definitely feel a lot lighter and a lot different to what you did at the start of the session. Also, you can get in touch with me through YouTube. I have a YouTube channel where I put a number of videos about what I do and just health in general at Truly Holistic, and also on Facebook as well. I have a page from Truly Holistic. So that's essentially about what I do here at Truly Holistic and how to get in touch with me. In regards to the show, what I'm going to be talking about is a big component of what makes up Truly Holistic, what I do as a profession. And that is the power of intention and also the power of sacred geometry. So I'm going to tie this in, obviously, with what I do here at Truly Holistic, but also talk about a bit about the science of it. So first, when obviously I am removing a problem from someone, a stressor, which, for example, what I mentioned before was somebody with diabetes, and I find a virus within the pancreas. Let's just say it is a shingles virus in the pancreas. And I use my words, so that's intention, to say within the pancreas, shingles virus, false. So by using those words, I'm saying that there's a virus within the pancreas, and by using the word false, I'm removing that frequency that holds that virus there. And therefore, the other component of this show is going to be the power of sacred geometry, and that's what my tools are made of, my energy tools, and that's why they work. So let's first go into intention. Our intention is essentially words. Our thoughts and words are energy. You know, whether we want to be positive or negative, we can broadcast negative energy if we're thinking negatively or saying words in a negative way, or being positive about it and you're giving off positive energy. So we can use it in a positive or negative way. And it can actually affect how your day manifests or your life manifests. So, for example, say if you're going to work and you've got a colleague who turns up at work and their body language is in a way that you can tell they don't want to be at work, and actually physically say that they don't want to be there and that it's going to be a horrible day, and they're forecasting that it's not going to be a great day just through their attitude alone and their words initially. And quite often what happens with these people is that's what eventuates. You know, their intention is that the day is going to be bad, and the universe is listening, and that's what you get in return. And I see this on a number of occasions. Personally, in my instance, being a nurse up at a hospital, is I'd turn up to work with positive intention, and there'd be somebody turning up with negative intention and just thinking, the worst about what's going to occur in this shift ahead of us. And what happens is a lot of the time, their shift is super busy, everything goes wrong, while I go about my shift and everything just fits into place. Because I'm looking at it in a positive manner, my language for that, my intention for that whole shift is positive, so therefore the universe is delivering that to me. We're always in contact and we're always in communication with the universe. It's just being conscious or aware that to see these things, these synchronicity and all the things that occur through intention. Now, another example is in regards to intention is if somebody, you say, will go along with this same colleague scenario, if you've got a colleague that you somehow intentionally or unintentionally annoyed or really annoyed them or pissed them off, and they've got a grudge against you and they just hate you. Now, if they've got a powerful or intense negative thoughts towards you, they just can't stand you and they hate you, well, those thoughts can actually manifest into that person in a negative way and actually manifest into a physical problem, which we essentially call in the energy world a spell or a curse. A lot of spells and curses that are clear are obviously from multidimensional beings and spirits as well. But on a living plane, people can do this just through intention, through intense thoughts and negative thoughts. They can create a spell which is going to cause a physical problem for that person. So we need to be careful with the words that we use, as well as the nature of the way we're trying to say something. It's very important because thoughts and words are energy. Now, I've got another example in regards to doing energy work with somebody. I had a lady, this is a wee while ago now, where she rang me up on her cell phone, and she was, I had done previous energy work with her, and she was complaining of abdominal pain. And so we looked into it, and I couldn't find one physical thing wrong that was causing the pain. So I thought, well, let's just talk a bit more about this, see what's been happening the last few days leading up to this. So she started to talk about her situation at home. Now, she had a stepdaughter at home who had a son who's got ADHD, so it was testing times at the time. And she was having to be accommodating for the stepdaughter as well as the grandson who had ADHD, and it was just getting too much for her, and she was finding it very difficult and being able to vent her thoughts to somebody about the situation. So all I did was we went into the emotional charts, found a few emotions that were causing issues for her, cleared the emotions with my sacred geometry tools, as I do here at Truly Holistic, and then within half an hour to an hour, the abdominal pain had been completely removed. It was gone. So in that instance, an emotion or her thoughts were causing a physical problem. It wasn't actually something physical that was causing the abdo pain. It was actually emotions and where she was in regards to her thoughts. So this is powerful stuff, and I think we all understand that our body follows the mind. What we're thinking at the time and our emotions at the time can really impact your health on a big way, on a big level. So other forms of intention is prayer. And a lot of people, with religious backgrounds and beliefs, they pray. And one thing that I need to explain in regards to prayer is, yes, it's a very positive form of intention, but we need to be careful who we're asking, because in a lot of cases, when you ask people, who are you praying to, and they'll, the majority of people say God. And from my perspective, I'm having to clear out negative gods, such as the Greek god Zeus, the sun god Ra, who have been part of our history. They've been gods in our past that held a lot of power at one stage. Perhaps physically they're no longer here, But on the energy plane, they still exist, and they like to cause trouble. And I see this a lot. I'm having to clear those gods out regularly. They're a bit of a nuisance, to be honest. And also Lucifer and some of the demonic gods. And because there's a lot of people even today that worship Lucifer as their god. And they're involved with occult rituals, which can be really regarded as black magic, where I'm using white magic, which is in a positive way, where they're using negative black magic in a negative way. And so, if you're asking and wanting answers from God, well, you need to know which one, because if you're just generally praying to a God, you don't know which one's going to give you an answer back. And it might be not exactly the answer you're wanting, and it actually can cause problems with your health. So me personally here, when I'm channeling through my own consciousness up to source of my own information, I ask for source, because all information has a source. And I find the best way of prayer or any intention consciously that you want to connect with is source. Either source, love source, or soul source, which essentially is all the same. And then you're getting a clear channel for what you're asking for or what you're hoping for. And you'll get a better answer. So that's essentially intention. So the next component of what makes up Truly Holistic is the tools I use to remove the negative energy or impart a positive energy to heal a part of your body. And that's using sacred geometry. Now, if anyone's been on my website or my YouTube channel or my Facebook page, I've got photos and videos of the tools that I use. And the main tool I use is called Vesica Pisces tool. And Vesica Pisces is geometry. And it's a pyramidal tool, and it allows me to work at a fourth dimensional or fifth dimensional or more area. And currently I'm working on a lot in the seventh dimension. That's opened up to me now. A very powerful tool. And sacred geometry essentially is all about shapes and symbolism. So within my tool, I've got the pyramidal shape. I've got a square, which is part of what makes up my Vesica Pisces tool, as well as a ring. So it's a circle. And pyramids by themselves are very powerful. Like, they're finding pyramids everywhere on this planet, not just the pyramids in Giza and Egypt. There's pyramids all over the place, and they're finding them everywhere, including the bottom of our oceans. And funnily enough, I saw an article only about a month or two ago, and they were discussing the phenomenon of the Bermuda Triangle, in the Caribbean, where there's been a lot of mysteries occur with, like ships and so on just disappearing out of thin air. And they've actually found within that area a pyramid at the bottom of the ocean, right in the middle where the Bermuda Triangle is. So, these pyramids now are essentially, old ruins now. But one seedling or many years in our history, they were used as an energy amplifier. And the energy amplifier is essentially why I use a pyramidal tool in Truly Holistic, because it creates photon energy. And at that level, I can then remove any frequency or vibration that is at the source of what's causing your health problem. Now, they've even found pyramids even on Mars, and there's also been sources that have found pyramids elsewhere as well on other places within the solar system. So, there's been, whether we want to think it's an extraterrestrial technology, but it's an ancient technology, pyramids. A very simple one, it's free energy, essentially. And it's a great one to use here at Truly Holistic. And that's the main tool I use to remove your health problem. I also use a few other sacred geometry tools, which are rings. One's called a sun ring, which is a ring made up of different metals, and it's also got little spokes kind of coming out like rays of the sun. And what that does, it doesn't give off the heat of the sun, but it gives off the energy of the sun. And I use that is a broadcaster of energy, and I had that sun ring on my Vesica Pisces tool, but I also use it by itself as well. Quite often when I'm having to impart energy to heal a part of somebody's body, they'll ask me to use the sun ring, and I'll use the sun ring to help heal that part of the body, and people will feel a tingling sensation or warmth sensation or coolness sensation, and pain will reduce. Also the other tool, the ring I have, is neutralization ring. And the neutralization ring is the opposite to the sun ring. The little stokes go inwards. And what that does is pull out any negative residue or negative attachments connected to you. So these rings are very powerful. And just looking at them, you wouldn't think much of them, but they're very powerful because of their geometry, their shape. Now, going into a bit more about energy, you have people that use crystals. And now a quartz crystal, or any crystal, is essentially made out of silicon dioxide. And it is, it's structured, okay? And the difference between, say, crystal and like a quartz crystal and glass, they're both made out of silicon dioxide, but one's in structure, one has structure, one doesn't. And the glass does not have structure. So when you drop glass, it breaks and it shatters very easily. But any crystal, it's very hard to break a crystal because all the compounds and the geometry is all structured within the crystal. And that's what makes it be able to hold on to memory. Okay, a lot of our technology, like our computers and our cell phones, right at the basis of what allows that to hold on to memory is a crystalline chip, a quartz crystal. So we can look at even our diet in that way. We're always looking for geometry and structure, and that's what's going to allow your body to function correctly. Spring water, for example, the best source of water, getting your water from an aquifer that's deep underneath the surface of the earth. And, it bypasses the law of gravity, where it actually levitates up. It goes against gravity up to a spring, the water from an aquifer. And this is magical water because this water has structure to it. Okay, it's virgin water, hasn't been messed with. And it's crystalline water. So water, that type of water holds on to memory as well. And therefore it can contain information. You break the word information down, it's information. So it's all about structure. And that's what we're wanting to drink. We're wanting foods and we're wanting our water to be structured. Okay, so people might have heard of structured water. And the key to living a vital life and a highly energetic life and being conscious and being high vibrational is consuming substances that have structure in them. So let's move on to regards to diet and food with structure and geometry in it. Now, you want to be eating food that has all the minerals in it, all the trace minerals, not just NPK, because the majority of our produce that we get at supermarkets and so on have been fertilized by 3 minerals. So NPK, we've got nitrogen, potassium, we've got phosphorus. Now that can make plants grow, but they're not going to make the plants vital. And a lot of the times these plants get attacked by bugs, and they get eaten away by bugs, and they have to put pesticides and herbicides on it. The reason why they have to put those things on it to protect the plant is because the plant's not healthy to start off with. It's not vital. Now, if plants have got all the minerals, all these trace minerals in its soil, they've got all the substances to make their own immune system strong so they can fight off bugs. The bugs won't want to eat those plants. It's just like us. If we've got all the minerals in our body, it will make us vital, and it will strengthen our immune system away from foreign bacteria and parasites and viruses. So, a lot of these superfoods that we hear, such as cacao, which comes from chocolate, and acai berry and goji berry and wild plants and herbs and like. Now, that's superfoods because a lot of them are grown in soil that aren't just being fertilized by NPK. Their soils are rich and got volcanic rich materials in it. And because it's got all the minerals, it's highly structured again. the geometry of that soil and the minerals they're getting are almost compounds, which are highly structured compounds. And this is all going to sacred geometry again. So, and a lot of these plants have got an affinity to absorb all these nutrients that a lot of the just generic plants don't know how to do either. And a lot of herbs are wild plants and essential. So just parsley and basil and all these oregano and all these herbs are great because they're wild plants and they'll have a number of nutrients in them. Now, lastly, I want to talk about in this show in regards to sacred geometry and the fact that I use pyramidal tools to do the healing at Truly Holistic is that they're photon generators, so they're energy generators. Now, at the moment, there is a theory, and a very good one actually, that I found out through a guy, David Wilcock, who does Cosmic Disclosure as well as wisdom teachings on Gaia TV, which is an excellent source for anybody that's conscious and wants to learn more conscious vital information. And he found that there was a couple of professors, Nima Arkane Hamid and Jaroslav Trinka from Caltech in California, found that possibly the universe is made from a single photon. That's how it was created, which the photon is a form of sacred geometry. It has the shape of sacred geometry. And that from this photon, our universe was fractalized from it in a Merkaba design, which is Merkaba. What I do at Truly Holistic is I can activate your Merkaba and activate third strand DNA because it's all about sacred geometry. Now, what they found is they cracked the biggest physics mystery or puzzle, that all of space and time is the emanation of a single geometric form through the photon. And photons have a weirdly tetrahedral shape, which they called an amplitahedron. That's the name they gave it. And they found that space and time is interlaced. It's one. And that the universe was formed through light. And this is amazing information in regards to this network being Journey into the Light, this radio. So another professor, Dr. Radek Krapakiewicz, his last name is Chrapkiewicz. Sorry for the pronunciation, it might have been wrong. Found that the Merkaba shape of photons looked like the Maltese cross. And when we look within history and we looked at past civilization ruins, we see this design everywhere. We see the Maltese cross everywhere. And they saw it on Anunnaki and at even Sumerian times. And this is going back several hundreds years BC, where the Maltese cross, the symbolism came up everywhere. So a lot of these ancient civilizations and ET, because I've talked about in previous shows that a lot of these ancient civilizations were really, and gods,